nerves to their legs aren't working very well, and it hasn't actually affected their larynx yet. So they're kind of like laryngeal paralysis dogs, but they haven't got the paralyzed larynx yet. They're just weaker on their limbs. And we then started to see owners, they'd be bringing their dogs to them, and that it made sense to me very much then that you look at these dogs and they would have difficulty rising, they'd be slow at walking. And now that I was examining them, having been trained better in my neurological exam, it'd be pretty obvious that actually their nerves weren't working. And you look at it and say, actually, no, this is a neuropathy. This is, these dogs can't move their legs properly because the nerves aren't working very well. And the really reassuring bit for me with those was that it's just not a painful disease. It's just not it's not a disease we can cure. It's not a disease that we can reverse the progression, but it does mean that they don't need to be on all these medications. They don't need to have people worrying the particular worry that their dog's really painful and that they're leaving it really painful and they just don't know. And so that was really nice. And I remember a couple of even, friends of mine's dogs that I'd watched get older and being able to say to their parents, look, this is fine. This is going to be okay. You don't even need to do anything particularly different. Just look after them as they're getting older. It's part of natural aging for a dog in a way.
Yeah. So in that case, we'd be thinking more about protecting them from harm. So you'd still be stabilized, to lift, to support, to help them around the obstacles of the home, etc.
Yeah, I think nowadays, I have now worked with a really strong rehab and physio department here at Bristol, and I have to say that my feeling about that disease is that once that you've made that diagnosis, clearly that's the role is for physio to try to maintain the muscle mass they've got and reduce the loss of muscle mass that they're gonna have, because what's happening to the nerves in these degenerative neuropathy cases is that the nerves are dying back, so the bit of muscle that they were innervating hasn't got a nerve supply, so can't contract. But other nerves around it will try to innervate that muscle as well and repair that damage. So there's a slow progression. And what we tend to see, I think, with these dogs is, although it might take several years as the disease is going on, you might need, 1 million muscle cells to work normally, and you might have had 10 million at the beginning. So, but they're slowly being lost. It's only when you drop below that critical number that they start to get really weak. So if you can slow down that progression with physiotherapy, I think it's probably very useful.